Hey guys, it's me, Corey, Truly Evil Bob, and sometimes I like to take a step back and just do a blog, a video blog, where I just chat right at you, and this is it. So my video blogs, I talk about anything and everything, and usually I talk about comic books. So if you guys want like a show about comics, I can do that. It's one of the things I love and know a lot about, at least on the DC side, and I can give you some cool DC stuff, and I want to do that today. But first, I want to let you guys know about a couple things. We started a new campaign on the Dead Unicorn. We're doing Wrath of the Immortals. Let me grab the book real quick. We're doing Wrath of the Immortals. It's a very old basic Dungeons and Dragons campaign, and I hope you check it out. And if you're on the fence about joining because we're so far in it, we have made a recap video that will show up on the little icon, the little eye right around in the corner, and you can click on that and watch it right now. I talk monotonously and slowly in it. I don't know what I was thinking, but I hope you enjoyed it anyways. Secondly, myself and Howard are coming up with a new live show. It's called Gaining Experience. I know it's an old show, but we're revamping it, and we're coming to you live. We're going to do a live show where we talk about role-playing games like Dungeons & Dragons, Numenera, anything. And you can come into the live stream and ask us questions right there. It's going to be Wednesday night, and I hope to see you there. It's going to be a blast. But let's get into what I want to talk about today. So, last time I did a blog, we talked about Heroes in Crisis, which I have very mixed feelings about. The second issue did come out a week ago, and it was standard fare for comic books. Somebody knows the superheroes' deep, dark secrets, including their secret identity, and might reveal them. Yeah, that's happened only a billion times in comics. They hinted that Booster Gold might not have done the things that he did. And it looks like probably someone got into the Sanctuary and did some mind control and stole things. So it's probably not Booster. But there is a really great fight between Booster Gold and the Flash. And whew, is the Flash mad. So the main characters in Heroes in Crisis are, of course, Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. And these characters are characters we know and love. We've loved them for a long, long time. But what if I said that the characters we know now aren't the same characters that came out back in the 30s and 40s? I know what you're saying. Well, metaphorically, every writer writes a character a little differently, so they're not technically the same character. But I don't mean technically or metaphorically. I mean literally. They are literally different characters. In the universe, in canon, they're separate characters. To get what I'm saying, we're going to have to go all the way back to the 1930s when Superman was created. So Superman took off. He was a great hit. And he inspired other characters like Batman and Wonder Woman and Green Lantern and The Flash. But after World War II hit, comic book superheroes took a dive. They were replaced with cowboy comics and war comics and horror stories. Then there was a revival. DC was at the head of this revival, reimagining characters like The Flash. They gave him a new secret identity. They gave him a kind of different powers. They gave totally different powers to the Green Lantern and total different backgrounds to these characters. They are different characters. It's no longer Jay Garritt as the Flash. It's Wally West, or not Wally West, Barry Allen. It's no longer Alan. Who's the Green Lantern? The original Green Lantern? It's not Alan Scott, is it? I don't remember. This is the thing about these blogs. I gotta get it off the top of my head. I can't really look it up. Let's look it up. Yeah, I was right. It's Alan Scott. I shouldn't doubt myself. I know this stuff. It's no longer Alan Scott. It's now Hal Jordan, and he's not a mystic, sorcerer. He's now an intergalactic space cop. 3 characters made it through the superhero slump intact. In fact, they never stopped printing their comic. And that would be Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. And their comics just continued unmolested. But then DC wanted to bridge the gap between their old heroes and their new heroes. And they did that first with The Flash. And in doing so, they said that the old superheroes lived on a different Earth, Earth 2. This was a tiny problem because Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman, all three of those characters existed back then with those superheroes, and they exist now with the new superheroes. DC explained this by saying, on both Earths, both heroes exist. And the Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman of Earth 2, the old Earth, were able to grow up. They got white hair on the side of their head. Robin grew up and he was still Robin. He was just an older Robin. Lots of interesting things happened to the Earth 2 superheroes. Meanwhile, on Earth 1, the characters were all kept young. That was the main storyline. Old Superman is literally a different character than new Superman. He has the same secret identity, he has the same origin, and share many of the same stories. But they are different characters. Let's move forward to the 1980s. DC Comics had so many universes. They went buck wild with the amount of universes they had. There was a universe where only Superboy was the only superhero. There was a universe where in the future there was a legion of superheroes. There was a universe where there were reverse superheroes. Bad guys were good guys and good guys were bad guys. They had so many different ideas for universes, and they wanted to consolidate them into one. So they created Crisis on Infinite Earths. They pretty much either destroyed all the extra universes or folded the ones that they wanted into the main universe. The Earth 2 superheroes were part of Earth's past. The Legion of Superheroes were the heroes of Earth's future. So they still existed. They were just, you could just tell stories of the past and the future with those characters. And a lot of the World War II era superheroes also were able to grow old and still exist in the time frame of now. There was a problem again. Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. They can't simultaneously exist in the past and the present. So with Batman and Wonder Woman, they actually killed off those characters. Those characters no longer exist. But with Superman, well, after the universes combined, there were a lot of just extra Superman hanging around. And also an extra Lois Lane and Lex Luthor, too. And there was a weird final frame for these characters at the end of Crisis on Infinite Earths, where they just look to Superman. They're all flying in space, and they just kind of look to Superman and say, we're just gonna leave. We're extras, so we're gonna go. And Superman says, all right, bye-bye. And they leave. Huh? So after Crisis on Infinite Earths, they reimagined Batman's origin story, Superman's origin story, Wonder Woman's origin story. Everybody got a new origin story. Is the Superman before Crisis on Infinite Earths the same Superman as after Crisis on Infinite Earths? Technically, yes. But also technically, no. This is the whole nurture versus nature debate. Are we our genes, or are we the experiences we had? If we're the experiences we have, then the Superman after Crisis is a totally different Superman. If we are our genes, then it's the exact same Superman. If it's somewhere in the middle, then the question becomes very muddled and messy. This has happened multiple times in the DC universe. After Crisis on Infinite Earths, they did it again in Zero Hour, and again in Infinite Crisis, constantly remaking these characters, updating them for a new generation of readers. It's a good idea. They started doing it a little too often. In Infinite Crisis, they even brought back the extra Supermen that flew off to wherever. And where was it revealed that they flew off to? Outside the universe, looking in voyeuristically. Literally, they were just off panel. In every comic, they were off panel watching it with you, the reader. Superboy hated what he saw so much that he punched reality until it broke. This is known as the retcon punch, because when he shattered reality, everybody's origin again was remade. A lot of people would say the last time DC did this was during Flashpoint, where they totally redid the timeline to the fact that these characters didn't resemble their previous states. In the case of characters like Superman, everybody kind of got a gritty reboot, more in line with the Christopher Nolan movies. Not a lot of people like this. They decided to do a soft reboot. They weren't gonna totally remake the characters, but they would change them slightly to conform with people's better sensibilities. The one that got changed the most in this rebirth was Superman. So what happened was, the Superman from the original timeline was brought back into the New 52 timeline after Flashpoint. And there were, again, two Supermen running around, one young and one old. The young Superman died. There wasn't a lot of fanfare around this, but literally, the Superman everybody had been following for like several years dies. Superman is dead, and there's this new Superman, and no one trusts him, even though he's the original Superman. All of the old fans love him and know who he is, but nobody in the current universe timeline knows this guy or trusts this guy. He was not just a refugee from another planet, but a refugee from a destroyed timeline. Well, this didn't last long, unfortunately. Mr. Mixelplick, whatever his name is, Mixelpidalick totally got me over a barrel. I can't even say his name. How can I make him spell it backwards? Combined the soul of the New 52 Superman and the soul of basically the 1990s to 2000 Superman together, and somehow combining their histories and made them another new person. Is this new person Superman? Is he he's definitely not the same Superman from 1932. Is he the same Superman from the 1980s? From the 1990s? From 2000s? That is a subjective point of view right there. I'm not sure if he is. This same idea goes for Batman, Wonder Woman, The Flash, every character in the DC universe. What do you think? Are these the same superheroes? Does it even matter if they're the same ones or not? What is a Superman story? What is a Batman story? What is a Wonder Woman story? Are they the characters, or are they the history and canon? And if you want a show that's me talking about comics, also give me a comment. I'll talk to you again the next time I feel like doing one of these videos. Later.